Did you ever find it difficult? So you're from the UK. Whereabouts in the UK are you from?
Brighton.
Brighton. Cool. Yeah. My knowledge of the UK is quite London centric,
Do you know
unfortunately.
Brighton? Have you heard of it?
Is it on the
Yeah,
coast?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So how is socializing in the UK? You
Um,
touched on this initially that there's some challenges sometimes.
yeah, I mean,
Mm,
it's fine. Like, I do obviously have a lot of good friends back home that I really miss. But it is different. It is
mm,
different the way that we maybe interact with people, the way we socialize. You kind of have your friendship group, and like they're who you go out with, and they're who you hang out with. And there's not so much kind of crossover and mixing between groups. Occasionally, maybe one person, it's like almost like kind of like herds of like animals. Maybe one person strays away from the pack, but it's like a anomaly. It's not the norm.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I feel like that's a shame. Like I feel like I wish that it was more natural to just go and talk to other people and kind of,
Mm,
sort of not stay so fixed to our friendship groups. But yeah, in the UK, I'd say that's more normal. You maybe make your friends at work, like you have your colleagues at work, or maybe your sports team, football or badminton or tennis or whatever it is,
mm,
and that's your kind of group, and you go out together. And then you notice in like pubs and stuff, it's not that common that someone will just go over to another group and be like,
mm.
hey, like,
It's quite strange, I would
yeah,
say.
if someone did that,
Yeah.
we'd be like, excuse me,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
can we help you?
Hackles raised,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Which is a shame. Like, but the problem is, if anyone ever did that, there'd always be like, the too drunk guy that was just like being annoying and weird, or trying to like hit on one of the girls or something. Like
Mm,
it was often not with like this kind of more pure intention,
mm,
that when you do interact with those people. But it would be nice if that was a bit more normalized, that you could just do that and then it's not strange. But yeah, I would say in the UK it's quite different to here. And here I
mm,
find, because we have this sort of shared mindset of like we're all away from our friends and family, we're all kind of nomads, we're all trying to make it in this different country.
mm.
We already have that connection. It's already easier to then be like, hey, like we get it, like we understand each other already on some level. Back home, just that's just less common, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's quite nice to be placed into this kind of context where, oh yeah,
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 cool.
yeah. It's nice to be placed into a context where you're forced to socialize with other people, and it's really difficult to choose that for yourself, I think, in your home country. At least coming from Sydney, which it sounds very similar to what you're describing in Brighton. Do you think so? How long have you been in Chiang Mai or Southeast Asia, kind of total?
Chiang Mai for about 2.5 years.
Mm.
And then I lived in Vietnam for about 2 years before that. I had a sort of like around a year gap in the middle when I went back to the UK, and also traveled in Europe for a bit. But
Mm.
yeah, in total, I guess come up for around 5 years in Southeast Asia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's solid innings,
yeah, true.
I'm really curious to hear your any thoughts on the. I wonder if locals in Chiang Mai, for example, would experience the same kind of difficulty socializing. Like, um, I'm still quite new to Southeast Asia, so I'm not sure if I have many opinions there. But in their pubs or their bars and stuff, are people going up to other tables and saying hello? I wonder if this is a more like inherent human thing, or
Mm.
if it is somewhat like culture specific. I kind of believe from a rose tinted glasses that perhaps it's more social over here, but again, new to the area, so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good question actually, because that's something I asked when I came here. I was like, is this weird for Thai people, like for this kind of
Mm,
concept?
yeah.
And it seems as though, and I could be completely wrong about this,
Mm,
but it seems as though Thai people also kind of have their group and don't necessarily want to be like thrust into these kind of social settings. That's what I've
mm,
heard from my friends who are Thai, or people that
mm,
have been here for a long time. And it seems as though it's kind of similar, whereas they wouldn't go somewhere where it's like, oh, you have to just like hang out with strangers and talk to them. It's more like, oh, these are your friends, you go out with them, you have your table with them, and that's the kind of extent of it. So maybe it is something more universal. Like maybe we do feel more comfortable in our pack, and we don't necessarily want the outsider coming in because like they can kind of, I don't know, like mess with the hierarchy or like mess things up in a way you don't want because you want to be in your comfort zone. So yeah, maybe it isn't just in the UK or Australia. Maybe it is just a kind of more universal thing where you have your group, that's your friends, and then anyone else has to really like rigorously pass the test to be able to like gain entrance to this circle. But here it feels a lot more fluid. Naturally, kind of different circles are kind of, you know, interacting with each other. And that's really nice to see.
It's interesting with comfort zones. You know, I feel like it can often, in life, you need to be brought out of your comfort zone on a regular basis a little bit, I think is optimal. Huge jolts can be really damaging, but if you stay completely stagnant without any kind of challenge to your life, you know, maybe more generally, but definitely in the social realm, I think, as you were talking, I was reflecting on, I attended this Mafia game with yourself and some others last Sunday, and, you know, coming into the space, I definitely felt a bit of social anxiety. I'm meeting a lot of new people, but because I'd done that before, I knew that within time I would really, you know, see these people most likely as friends. And I think it's interesting, you know, in society, maybe we need more spaces like the co-working space to kind of provide this continual bringing people out of their comfort zone. So I feel like you're doing a good service to the community in that
Thanks,
sense.
man. The Mafia game I really enjoy. Again, I don't think the game itself is that special. I think it's a bit of a silly game, but what it does is it really gets people to talk to each other. It forces you almost to interact, and I think it's just really funny and just like I just enjoy the back and forth of it, and you get these people that would normally not have a conversation with each other ever, having these kind of even though they're calling each other out and wanting to like kill each other in the game, it's still light-hearted fun and just gets this natural flow of conversation going, which is really important.
I feel like the emotional intensity of that game helps to bond people.
They're like
Yeah.
having two teams almost, and you're just really like, we're together on this team, we need to work together to win. And it kind of almost like spills over into the real world after the game a bit as well.
Definitely.
Like I felt like this kind of kinship with the other mafia that I was like, we did this.
Definitely.
We killed those villagers together. Or like this resentment to like, they tricked me. They lied to my face. Like, it's quite funny, but you know.
And even the resentment you might feel towards someone, I feel like that's more of a social connection, more of a base to build off than nothing at all. Exactly. Like they're purely strangers.
Definitely.
Yeah.